What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here, and we've had pretty good fortune when it comes to the injury report under Aaron Glenn so far this offseason, but we've hit our first significant concern coming up with the announcement that Tyrod Taylor is going to be out for the remainder of this preseason, excuse me, barring something significant happening. But we know with some of these more surgical procedures and such, when you want to look at someone like Jermaine Johnson, for example, Aaron Glenn is going to be more cautious when it comes to trying to rush these guys back or force them into situations they may not quite be prepared for. But it's potentially also the first gaffe that I can think of under Aaron Glenn when it comes to the injury history updates. And I use gaffe lightly, right? I think there's a world where we've heard him mention a lot of these injuries that have come up so far as minor or not overly concerning, and he's essentially been right about the majority of these. And this isn't, a season-ending injury for Tyrod Taylor or anything of the nature either, right? This is a minor arthroscopic knee surgery that he went through after missing about a week's worth of practice, but it feels like one where if surgery would have been on the table, considering AG's addressing it as minor, maybe that's the nuance here in this situation. But I would imagine whenever surgery is required, that would be a situation where you would want to be more cautious with your timelines and timetables and stuff like that. So maybe it was that initially it wasn't a concern. Maybe it was just knee soreness, maybe a bit of swelling or something like that. We've heard him refer to it as veteran wear and tear before, and then it probably evolved as general rehab practices for whatever that looks like with us wasn't really resolving the issue, and they went down this path. But outside of all of the political stuff when it comes to announcing the injury reports, there's a couple of concerns that will come with this, right? Week 1 of the regular season is still the targeted timetable for Aaron Glenn. In fact, he specifically said, I don't think he'll be playing in the preseason, but hopefully he'll be ready for week 1. But we don't have any NFL experience behind Tyrod Taylor. We have 2 developmental options in Brady Cook and Adrian Martinez, who both have had their moments over the course of this offseason. Brady Cook within the last 2 weeks or so, really coming on hot, and then Adrian Martinez being one of those preseason stars and probably will never get a shot in the regular season to see if he responds the same kind of way. But you feel good about what you've seen, but not something you necessarily want to rely on. And Justin Fields hasn't had any major concerns, the toe injury being the biggest thing, but he also does have somewhat of an injury scare to him as well, while not necessarily being injury prone. So ultimately what I'm saying here is that we might want to kick the tires and take a look at other veteran options that are going to be out there once we get done with our 3rd preseason game. That'll involve roster cut down days and all that kind of stuff as well, which should make it more of an intriguing situation. But we also never really expected, in my mind, to keep 3 quarterbacks, no matter how good Brady Cook or Adrian Martinez do, unless you feel like this is a guy that maybe does have starting potential at best and at worst is maybe a long-term backup option. But it feels like we're willing to roll the dice on trying to sneak these guys onto the practice squad. And so if Tyrod Taylor isn't ready for week 1, do you take the risk of having one of these guys who are unproven if some kind of injury comes up and you need them to jump into the game? Or do you potentially sacrifice one or both players in Cook and Martinez and look to shore up another veteran? And then also, what is going to be the consequences of having to carry on 3, Tyrod Taylor unofficially being on any kind of PUP list or anything like that? But as of right now anyways. But what is that going to look like? Who are we potentially missing out on, most likely on the defensive side of the ball, or even on the offensive side when it comes to guys that are probably on their last ditch efforts, right? And I'm looking at guys like a Malachi Corley, for example, maybe someone like the UFL pickups at guard we have, Cole Lavao, and I'm forgetting the name of the newest player, but the one that got penalized on Donovan Edwards' big rushing attack. Nonetheless, there's a lot of question marks around this piece, and as we get a better idea of what his recovery is looking like post-surgery, we'll see what happens, right? I wonder if it's in the cards that potentially Tyrod Taylor even gets cut as well if things aren't progressing the way they need to, but we'll see what all that ultimately looks like. Let me know what you guys think. How much of a red flag is this for you? I would say out of a 10, this is probably about a 5.5 or a 6 for me, but let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.